Hey there, everyone. I know I'm only a week late, but I have finally gotten around to playing the Elder Scrolls Online PTS and testing out some of the new content. While this video is mainly going to focus on the two new dungeons, Exiled Redoubt and Lepseclusa, I believe I'm pronouncing that right, I will also touch on some of the other things that will be added with Update 45. As I'm sure you guys read in the thumbnail, I will not be spoiling anything regarding story, mechanics, or anything else that hasn't already been revealed to us. I know not everyone can or will access the PTS, so I want you guys to be able to enjoy the experience for yourself whenever Update 45 hits live servers, which is why I won't be showing any gameplay from the PTS. However, I will show some screenshots just to kind of illustrate my points or show off some of the cool non-spoilery things. So with all that out of the way, what did I think about everything? Well, I'm definitely a fan of what I've seen so far. Let's start by talking about the dungeons. Exiled Redoubt has you join an Imperial battle mage to infiltrate a stronghold and find out why there has been so many disappearances of soldiers. Lepseclusa tasks you with aiding a moth priest in protecting an Elder Scroll from falling into the wrong hands. I thought they both had a pretty good narrative. If you're big into lore and following the stories of ESO, then I think you'll like these dungeons. I'm not a huge lore and story guy. I enjoy them, and I can recognize when there's cool lore or good stories, but I wouldn't say that I'm super into it, though. If you are, I think you'll like these dungeons. I don't know. Let me know. Visually, though, they both have a very distinct aesthetic that really sets the tone of the stories that they're trying to tell. I think Exiled Redoubt does this especially well out of the two. As you can see, it is beautiful in a haunting, almost menacing sort of way. On the other side of the coin, Lepseclusa still does a very good job at setting the tone. Where Exiled Redoubt went with kind of cool, dark tones, Lepseclusa went with a really interesting kind of warm yet dreary feel to it. It's very, very interesting. The fights in these dungeons are also visually appealing, but where they really shine is that these dungeons are just fun to play. The mechanics themselves aren't very complicated. It's mainly, hey, don't stand there. But the fights are still enjoyable because they are still engaging even without the complexity of dungeons like Scalecaller or Marsalok. ZOS definitely seems to be continuing the trend of how many things can we have in the arena at one time, because these dungeons definitely remind me of the likes of, things like Red Petal Bastion or Balsanar, where, hey, don't stand there is a little more difficult than it seems. Now, I didn't get a chance to play these on hard mode, so I can't say for certain if there's a large difficulty spike from just regular Vet to Vet HM, but I can definitely say that they bring a decent challenge without being frustrating to do with randoms. There are some secret boss fights in these dungeons, but I'll be honest with you, they were also super easy to find, incredibly easy. I think most people will probably know where all the secret bosses are after their first or second playthrough. The sets seem okay. I will say they're definitely unique, and I think some people could probably make some fun builds out of them. Do I really foresee any of them shifting the meta? Not really. Though, if I'm wrong, please feel free to let me know in the comments. I think that this would also be a pretty good place to talk about the patch notes, and in a rare turn of events, I don't have a lot to talk about as there is very little balancing. Pretty much all the actual balancing came from some minor changes to some sets and some changes to the way sneaking works. Outside of that, the rest of the balancing was mostly just bug fixes. Though I will say that there were some pretty notable quality of life updates, most notably the craft or green CP tree. There were a lot of slottable champion point perks in the green tree that are now not slottable anymore, meaning you can have them on at all times. They went from being slottable to being passive. It was actually pretty funny. Whenever I first logged on and checked my champion points, I literally only had one thing slotted after this change. So I just kind of got a kick out of that they really did change some of the best CP perks to now be passive rather than slottables. But yeah, I mean, this was just a really good change. I really appreciate it. And I hope that, maybe they kind of maybe look into doing this a little more with the blue and red trees even. I understand that they got to be a little more cautious with that. But, you know, hey, we might see something. Speaking of nice changes, the new clean and labeled world map was a nice change as well. I really appreciated that, and I know new players will also very much appreciate that. There were also some other changes like the crime wave, the starter zone refresh, the housing stuff, but I didn't really get a chance to explore those too terribly much. I'm not really big into housing or crime stuff, and I'll be honest with you, I just forgot to look at the starter zones. I'll probably jump back in after posting this and check it out, but they weren't really top of my priority list. Finally, we'll talk about the prologue quest and transitioning into whatever we have coming with this new content model that ZOS is trying out. Right off the bat, the prologue quest was awesome. If they keep this same level of intensity and intrigue through the rest of the story, I think a lot of players will be very happy. They did a great job of introducing and reintroducing characters, and I definitely felt that sense of urgency throughout the quest. Of course, like I mentioned, no spoilers, so I won't talk about what's actually going on, but I will say that it definitely got my attention, and from what I've read online, it also seems like the majority of the community seems to really enjoy this, and, you know, we're getting a little invested in the story. Also, with this prologue, I noticed some things like new dialogue options, world building, some other stuff that we haven't really seen before, so good on you, ZOS. Good job. I really do understand the concerns that players have been having regarding a change in content model and how it might sound to a player base and look, you know, from an outside perspective. But I think ZOS also recognizes this, and it really does seem like they want to use this new content to reassure players that ESO isn't going anywhere. Okay, well, I think that was pretty much everything. I do believe the Cyrodiil test should be starting right about now if I actually get this video out on time, so stay tuned for anything I might want to talk about in regards to that. Outside of that, I know I posted about it already, but guys, we are officially past 500 subscribers, and I'm just seriously over the moon about that. I might do a little extra celebration video or something sometime soon. I'm not 100% sure yet. I've got a lot going on with ESO right now, but I am sure that I've been having a blast with YouTube, and I'm glad that I'm putting more focus into ESO, and it seems like you guys are too. You know, as I was typing this out, I really thought I'd have a little more to say here in the outro, but I think all I've got left to say is that I've been Doc. Take care of yourselves, be good to others, don't forget to check out ESO's PTS, and I will catch y'all in the next one.